buongiorno and dzień dobry and howdy. I don't know, Sherry, what's the...
Hello is fine.
Buongiorno is fine.
It's a bit, maybe, is it late in the day to say buongiorno? Buonasera, I don't know.
Yeah, buonasera.
Hello.
Dzień dobry, Bache. Let's start the meeting. Hello, everyone. So this is the July 2025 edition of the monthly OpenLineage meeting. Reminder that the call is recorded, so be on your best behavior because it's going to be posted on the internet. We start the meeting by doing a quick round of introductions and building the agenda. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over people in the order they are on my screen. And I'm going to ask you to do a quick, what's your name, where you work at, if you care to share, and if there's something you want to talk about today. We have a open discussion at the end of the meeting that we can use to talk about those topics. If you would just want to listen in, this is all great as well. We have a couple, we have a presentation, a couple of topics today we'll talk about. So on my screen, I'll start, I can start. I'm Julian, I work for Datadog. I'm the lead for the OpenLineage project. Today I'm going to facilitate, and I'm looking forward to hear the Debezium related presentation. Next on my screen is Mario.
Hi all, I'm Mario and I'm working at IBM and I mainly work on the Debezium project. I'm one of the maintainer team. So, hi all.
Next is Sherry. Sorry, I messed up something with my sharing.
That's okay. I am Shiri Cabral. I am a Director of Engineering at MyKarma, and I am here to just participate with OpenLineage, like I have been.
Thank you. Tomasz.
Hi, I'm Tomasz Nazarewicz from Xibia. I'm OpenLineage committer, and today I just want to listen to the presentations.
Maciej.
Hey, I'm Maciej Buchowski. I work at Datadog, and today I want to briefly mention something for Paweł, who couldn't be there, regarding Spark support, and listen to the Debezium presentation. Thanks.
It's good. Casper.
Hey everyone, I'm Casper. I work for Astronomer, and on the OpenLineage, I'm mainly focused on the Python/Airflow/dbt side of things. And yeah, today I just wanna hear whatever I can say before my next meeting at 7.
Daniel.
Hi everyone, Daniel Rolls, CEO and founder of BerryNode, and looking forward to also seeing the presentation and listening to the content. And if there's any other AOB, I'd love to touch on the compliance topic and also the structured and unstructured data topic we picked up last month. So I can share some thinking that we've been doing on that, only if it's helpful.
Luke.
Hey everyone, I'm Luke Hoffman. I work at Atlin on the customer success team. So I'm an implementation engineer helping customers onboard OpenLineage. So primarily I work with Spark, but we also have customers that onboard to OpenLineage for Airflow. But yeah, I'm just here to learn more and stay involved with the community. So happy to listen in on the presentations.
Sounds good. Thank you. So next, I have a quick slide to remind what the various communication channels we have independently of this meeting. So the main communications channel is the Slack. So you're welcome to join the Slack. There's also a mailing list that's used mainly for announcements, but you can use. We have a wiki where we keep track of this meeting notes, and you'll find some information. We have some social media accounts on Twitter, Blue Sky, LinkedIn, where we post announcements about when there are talks at conferences about OpenLineage or new releases and so on. And these videos are posted on the recording of this meeting are posted on the YouTube channel. Next, for the agenda today, so I have a couple announcements, which are typically about things happening in the OpenLineage community. I'll mention the recent release and have a quick overview of what's in there. And then we'll go over the presentation by Mario about the Debezium support for OpenLineage. We also have a slide for the Spark topic, Spark support topic that Maciej mentioned right after that. And actually, sorry, I just put it there. Keep track. And then at the end, we have the open discussion. So I put an item in there to talk about the topics you were mentioning. So we'd keep some time at the end of the meeting for following up on those discussions you were mentioning. So announcements. So back in June, Maciej and Harel did a great presentation about data observability and OpenLineage at the DASH conference in New York City, which is the Datadog conference. The recording is now available on YouTube, and you could go watch it there if you didn't get the opportunity to watch it live. As I remember, there was a packed room and people had to wait outside and couldn't get in. So there was lots of interest in OpenLineage at the time. Anything you want to mention, Maciej? Or,
yeah, exactly. I wanted to mention that there were so many people who were interested in the topic. And many of them didn't know anything about data observability, yet still were interested in that. So I think that's great.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of interest in data observability. That's great. Thank you. So next, recent releases. So we just released 5 days ago OpenLineage 1.35. There's 60 commits from 7 contributors. Thank you to all the contributors. So in particular, we have a few highlights. In Python, we have the new asynchronous HTTP transport implementation by Maciej present in this meeting. Thank you, Maciej. In Spark, we have fine-grained timeout config added by Pavel, who couldn't join the meeting today. In Spark, we include the Spark application details facet to all events by Delphinus. And in Python, add continuous success and sorting transport in composite transport by Casper, who's also in this meeting. Thank you, Casper. So we'd like to thank all the contributors as usual. If you'd find the notes on GitHub for more details, there's also a bunch of bug fixes and other smaller things in these releases. Those are just highlights. Is there anything you want to highlight on some of those contributions for people in the meeting, or otherwise we can just move on?
I just want to mention that it was another release with really a lot of commits and contributions. So yeah, I hope it will be the trend from now.
Yeah, that's nice. And that's our monthly release, right? Like, so we usually release on a monthly cadence. So that's a lot of contribution in once. Okay, on that, I will hand over the presentation to Mario to talk about the work he did on the native data lineage in Debezium, thanks to OpenLineage. So I will stop sharing. And and I will let Mario share his screen to keep going.
Okay, let me share my screen. Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay, so let me move this on. First of all, thanks for inviting me to this meeting. And I'm Mario Vitale. I'm a senior software engineer at IBM, and I'm one of the main contributors of the Debizium project. And today I would like to show you how Debizium integrates with OpenLineage to provide native lineage support. So this is the agenda. So I will talk about what is Debizium, and then we'll see how we map our model to the OpenLineage object model. Then we will see the kind of events that we emit and when we emit this. And then we will see what is next. So for those don't know what is Debizium is the leading open source change data capture solution. It permits to simply tools your database in a stream of events. So it permits to capturing your data changes and create a streaming of these changes. We support measure of the database. So the one that are more relevant are Postgres, MySQL, MariaDB, Mongo, SQL Server, Oracle, and many others. And we provide these in different flavors. The most used one are the Kafka Connect source connector. And the other one are the Debizium server. That is a standalone application built in with Quarkus, and let you to, for those that don't want to use Kafka Connect, can use this standalone application that permits you to do the CDC from the same sources, but you can decide to put the data on Kafka, but on many other destinations like Google PubSub or S3 or many Azure and other message broker, like also Redis. And the other one is the Debizium engine. Is the minimum part that you can use. Is just a library, Java library that you can embed in your Java application, and you can start receiving changes on your your application. And for the Debizium server, just to mention that we also provide Kubernetes operator, so that you can easily deploy it on Kubernetes. And also we are building the Debizium platform, that is a platform with a user interface where the user can focus on designing the pipeline, and under this pipeline will be deployed using the operator and the Debizium server on Kubernetes. On the picture below, you see the classical flow of how the data is moving. So you have your DB, you set up your Debizium connectors that have inside the connector have the concept of task. And then Debizium, you define your capture table, the table you are interested to capture the change, and these events are then processed by Debizium and emitted to a Kafka topic. Okay, this is in Kafka Connect deployment, right? I think that many of you knows about OpenLineage, but I just put this slide for in case there are people that doesn't know about it. OpenLineage is the open framework for the data lineage collection and analysis. And this is the main object that are in the model. So you have the job, that is the main entity, I would say. And then the job can have different runs. And these runs are also mapped to dataset, can be input or output dataset. And this model can be also easily extended with the different facets. There are the facets that are out of the box, and you can also provide your custom facet. Let's see how we mapped our connector with the concept of OpenLineage. So as said before, we have the concept of task, but the majority of the Debezium connector are just single task connector. This is because the transaction log can be just processed in a single thread fashion, except for the SQL Server that has a multitask connector. And so we mapped this task with the job. Then we have the concept of captured tables that for us are what for the OpenLineage is input dataset. And then we have the topic where we send the output data, and this is maps with the output dataset. Let's now focus on the Debezium job. We use it for the name what we this form topic prefix dot task ID. Topic prefix is a Debezium configuration property that is treated as a logical name for your connector. Okay, and this also, as the word says, it is also used as topic prefix for your topic. The task ID is just the number. If you usually this is just 0, but you can have this with the different number for SQL Server connector. For the namespace, we decided to use as default the same topic prefix value, but you can configure it with specific properties. The information that we provide are the connector version, the connector configuration. This is done via a custom facet. And then you will have the provided description, tags, and owners that you can just provide via these configurable options. But what events we emit? So mainly we are stick to the connector life cycle. So we have the concept of start, stop, and eventually the fail. So we have the start when the connector starts its initialization, its setup, and its initial configuration. That we are starting to emit the running event when there is a change that arises from the database, so we process this, and during the streaming of this operation. And then we have the complete events when the connector shut down gracefully. And then we have the fail when there is some error that occurs in the connector. Regarding the important part is the dataset. So we have both the input and the output dataset. These information are not available for us at the start in a statical way, but we get this information while running, while the connector is running. For the input dataset, we get the information while we are in the streaming phase. So while we are getting information from the database, we are getting also the DDL of the tables. And so from this information, we can get the schema and the column, the name of the table. And so we can construct the input dataset information. But the Debezium has also the concept of initial snapshot. What is this? This is some required operation because when you start the connector for the first time, we don't have the information about the schema of the table, okay? Because normally the transaction log has some retention, so some information are lost. And so if you don't have the whole logs, the measure of time you go for the initial snapshot. In this phase, we get all the table structure, so we can construct the input data set. And in this phase, you can decide also to get also some data snapshot that is required before starting the stream. On the output side, we just emit the output dataset information while we are emitting the Debezium event. So we're receiving the change from the database, do our changes, and create our Debezium events, and we emit the output dataset information. And both of these dataset provides schema information with the schema dataset facet. But there was an issue. The problem is that the Bezium connector are based on the concept of the Kafka Connect framework, right? And for those that don't know how it works, normally in the Kafka connector runtime, you have the concept of source connector and sink connector. Source connector are connector that attach to your data source, do something, and provide to the Kafka Connect the records that is called source records. These records are then processed by the Kafka Connect with a series of transformation. You can create a chain of transformation, and then the records are then converted with different converter, JSON, Avro, and whatever you want, before sending to the Kafka topic. So the problem is that on the Debizium side, we know our output records, but we don't know how the change will be applied after. So if we meet the output dataset information in this phase, this could be altered by an arbitrary SMT. So the way we try to solve this is to provide a dedicated single method transformation that we get the final output dataset information. And the requirement is that you need to put this at the end of the chain of the transformation. So if a user want to have the correct output dataset schema information, need to apply this SMT to the chain of the transformation at the end. And this is just, let's say, limitation for the Kafka Connect deployment. For the others, we will see after. So this is the final result. So this is just a screenshot from a demo where you can see that there is this single job, our example with our inventory database, where we have the input data set, the table that we capture with information about the columns. And then we have also the output, so the information about the structure of the output message, output record. That, as you can see here, is mainly based with the, there is no transformation that transformed the Debizium event, but it's mainly the Debizium event schema. And then some details on the job side. We provide the standard information, the tags, the ownership, and also the processing type and other configuration. And then we also provide our custom facet, that is the Debizium conf, where you can see the whole configuration that has been used to run this specific connector. So what is next? First of all, Debizium is mainly focused on the source side, as I said before, but we have a couple of sink connectors that we provided to facilitate use case like migration from one database to another. So user can have this connector for example, moving using the Postgres connector, then using our JDBC sink connector to move this data to another destination database. And we also have the MongoDB sink connector, so you can move data on Mongo. But for this connector, as of now, there is no lineage support. So we would like to add also lineage for this to have a complete pipeline support for the lineage. The other one topic that we would like to enhance is the one related to the problem about the dataset that we have in the Kafka Connect that we solved with the SMT, but with our Debizium server, we have the full control also of the transformation chain and on the converter. So we can put the right place, we have the place where we can create the output dataset without forcing the user to use the custom SMT. And at the end, we would like also to evaluate the creation, to generalize a little bit this implementation that is specific for Debizium, to provide maybe a generic SDK to be used in Kafka Connect connectors. Maybe this will require some collaboration with the Kafka Connect guys, but we will see. This is a nice to have. This is just some reference. So first link is just documentation where you can see how to start using this integration. And then there is also a blog post about just showing how we integrate this. Mainly is aligned with this presentation, but it's good to highlight that I'm also working in these days, maybe it will be out in the next weeks, on a blog post about showing how putting together the Debizium with Flink, so create a whole streaming pipeline, and showing how you can use the lineage, so simulating a breaking change on the Debizium side that cause the failing of the Flink job, and then you will we go through investigating troubleshooting using the lineage metadata. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mario. And on that, we'll take questions.
So I have a couple questions. First is like, as someone who works on the core libraries and spec and all the parts that are relevant to all integrations, and that this is an integration that is in completely new field for OpenLineage. I don't think there is another CDC integration. Was there something that was specifically good or bad, or any feedback that you have? Or maybe it doesn't map well, or maybe some things that we can improve on our side?
The Debizium is based on Java, so I mainly I interacted with the Java SDK, and I think that I didn't find any strange stuff. There was just a minor thing that caused me some debugging session, but I think that I opened up here to provide better logging for this. But I think that the model fits quite good. Maybe it's more batch oriented, but I think there are things that can be it can be adapted in some way also to this kind of streaming jobs. And I think that mainly it's work, and I think that for now it's complete, at least for our use case and the information that we would like to put inside this lineage.
Another thing that we have been discussing like a bit behind the scenes is maybe there is a need to introduce some kind of more explicit heartbeat, or like we have these running events, and the running events I think fulfill a bit that role in, at least in the Flink integration where we first use them, which is they are emitted on checkpoint. I don't know how often you emit them, or like what's exactly the role, but do you think that it is a way to like provide some kind of heartbeat so that in cases where we have a long running job, let's say, something above in bad jobs, this can be, a few minutes or an hour, but in case of streaming, it's of course days, months, or very long. And sometimes those jobs die and we don't get any information because, for example, memory has been exhausted and the OpenLineage integration couldn't send the event. So this is kind of thing that we want to solve. And do you think it has the relevant? Is it relevant to your case? And
it could be good because, for example, we, let's say, solved it implicitly because we have events that comes sometimes. So every time arriving events, we emit this running with the whole information of the dataset information. So we are emitting it periodically. Apart if you don't have any changes on your database, but we have also the concept of heartbeat. And so maybe something like that could be good to have.
And last one, I promised to let other people ask questions too. So is there any particular framework inside Debizium that allows you to write integration like that? Or is it more kind of hard-coded into Debizium? Or like, is there some event, something like, I don't know, in Spark, there's like Spark listener concept that allows you to listen to events and... How is it implemented?
Yeah, for now it's we have just a separate dedicated module for this implementation, where there is all the there is mainly an entry point where you init all the stuff, and then you have the method to emit and emit the whole the things that you want to emit. But then there is no, if you talk like the life cycle listener, something like that, we don't have this yet. But the last topic that I put in the what's next is maybe try to generalize this as much as we can. But this will involve also the Connect community, because we need to check if there is room for having this in the Connect, or maybe just generalize these to have an SDK to be used in by the Connect developers.
Thanks. And
Thank
thanks for the presentation and the work on that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, if not, thank you so much, Mario, for your work in your presentation. And we can move on to the next topic. Daniel, do you want to ask a question or?
Yeah, Julian, are we at AOB? Are we at any other business?
Not just yet. There's one more thing.
Oh, sorry.
Well, it's kind of, it's no worries, no need to. Let me just, we have just, I mean, it's kind of the other topics, but I have one slide for it.
Yeah.
So there's the Maciej, you mentioned Pavel wanted to talk about the support for Spark 2, and he put just one slide to illustrate this, and you can go.
Yeah, Pavel asked me to present this on behalf of him, but I quite agree with what I'm going to say. So we are still supporting Spark 2 in the OpenLineage Spark integration. And the Spark 2 last release of this version was done like before the pandemic, which is like prehistoric from my perspective. And recently Spark 4 was released, which is another major version that we have to release. And there's a bit of code changes relevant to our integration. And we'd like to finally drop the support, as we're not providing any additional features for Spark 2 for some time. One thing that it does is like it limits a bit, and we have to create more workarounds in the code. And we've been discussing this topic recently, or like a few times already, and more on the generic side, we wanted to solve how generally we want to support, how long, where can we drop stuff. And this time, I think the discussion is just about the particular case of Spark 2. And yeah, if you really want to keep Spark 2, I think that's the good moment to tell that, and maybe to volunteer to keep this alive. Because the rest of the people who work on it, I think, are in agreement. It's overdue a bit. And always, as always, the previous version will still work. They will emit events as they have been till now. So I think the impact isn't as large as the name suggests. We're not like SaaS here. We're just building libraries. So yeah, that's what I wanted to tell.
Yeah, we'll document the last version of
course.
OpenLineage that supports Spark 2, right? And then people will be able to find it.
Yeah, and we will announce that more broadly, right? We'll give some time for people to, chime in if there is some need for it. Maybe the solution for those would be to fork this or like create a separate integration, or if there is really a need for it. There are solutions to be found, but from my and Pavel's point of view, we should be able to drop it without loss to really anyone.
Any objections? Speak now or forever,
Our support.
forever hold your peace. Okay. I think we'll send more messages on the other channels. And you can always send feedback to the PR. So PR3904 is there for this. Thank you. If there are no other question on this, we'll move on to Daniel's topic. Okay, so yeah, sorry, Daniel, I was what's the I'll write a better description. So can you repeat what you said, governance, compliance, something?
Yeah. So two topics, and we picked them both up in last month. So one, which is quicker, which was the compliance, degrees of compliance conversation that we're having. And we touched on it, and I'm still struggling. Someone said it's listed as an issue somewhere. I'm still struggling. I've been over the repo a couple of times now. I can't seem to find that issue somewhere. So if somebody's got that compliance issue handy, could they please push it to the Slack community again or to the meeting invites? I have been meaning to take a look at it, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to do a refresh. So a couple of meetings ago, I talked about, and happy to share my screen if that's helpful. I talked about the way we're trying to define and track compliance to the standard for the vendors. And Julian, I don't know whether happy to share my screen or happy to ping you the link.
Yeah, go. Please, I just stopped sharing, so please feel free to share.
Sure.
That works.
So just to remind everybody that we are trying to track the status of compliance for each of the categories to the OpenLineage standard. Now, again, I just want to keep caveating, we've done this on publicly available information. Whilst I have had conversations and literally had some further, which was part of the refresh that we're going to do over the coming weeks with some of the other vendors that aren't on this list currently. We've been having some other conversations with them, so we're going to do another refresh over the next couple of weeks. So we should have a refresh. And just my request again, for all those in the community, please, we want to keep this information as up to date as possible. So if there's if anything in there is incorrect, needs clarification, etc., please feel free to come back to us and challenge what we've put there. I'm really sorry, guys. We don't use Zoom, so I'm trying to get this thing away from my. Am I unable to pin this so you guys can actually see the screen?
We can see this Zoom thing.
It's okay?
Yeah, we don't see it.
Yeah.
You just see your screen. It's invisible to us.
Perfect.
It's in your way, but not
sorry.
ours.
We're completely team, so I don't use Zoom. Sorry.
No worries.
Sorry. Was there a comment question? Sorry.
No. So we are just saying we can see your screen. This works. Yeah.
Perfect. So again, just greatly appreciate if we really want to make sure it's as correct and reflects reality as possible. So any of the vendors on the call, please feel free to ping us. So if that topic's okay, Julian, I'd like to move on to the other one we discussed last week, which was structured and unstructured data. So we talked about a bit of an open request to the community on whether anybody's seeing any solutions out there with regards to structured and unstructured data. Just wanted to update. Last time I spoke about the work we were doing on combining operating models. So this top left corner with regards to BCBS 239 compliance in banks and how we were thinking about the connected operating model with Lineage playing a key component in that. What we've been trying to do in recent times is think more about the data types. So hopefully you guys can see that. And we realized that in that operating model presentation of the capabilities, so just to link from my previous conversation to this one, you'll notice that the principles of BCBS 239, which define compliance, are on the same face. So that's start with governance, etc. 11 principles. The operating model elements around people, process, tech, which is obviously most relevant to this community, and data, which is also most relevant to this community. With BearingNode's data and information observability framework capabilities across the top. But the add that we've done since conversations with clients is we've now added data type dimension to that as well. So structured and unstructured, because the conversations we're now having more and more with clients is around whilst they're getting the structured under control with regards to risk reporting, unstructured with Gen AI adoption is now becoming a critical topic, and the lineage for how to what is consuming that unstructured data is now also becoming a topic. And I think it was Jacob from IBM, who I think I'm seeing in Prague in 2 weeks' time, touched on the topic with the work they're doing over at Manta. So I just wanted to update the community from that last topic that we've been doing some thinking and trying to connect those dots. So I just wanted to flag that in some of the conversations we're having out in the market. Happy to pause there, bring down the screen if nobody has any questions on that, or leave it up there if anybody's got any questions, comments, thoughts.
So is there specific metadata that you would like to add regarding structured and unstructured, or it's just what's your thinking here?
Yeah, I think we've got to get to that spec yet, Julian. The conversations I'm having right now are at Chief Data and Analytics Officer, CDO level around my board is asking me how are we going to do this. I don't think we're down to spec yet. We're having some conversations, and I think some of those conversations will go forward in 2 weeks' time when I'm in Prague, so we can get down to what type of metadata. But the challenge we're seeing, and based on our research, is when we look at the vector stores, right? When you start chunking the documents, how do you actually trace that back to documents? How do you trace that back to store? Particularly another conversation we're finding ourselves having right now is data sovereignty. How do you know what jurisdiction that data came from? Right? So those types of topics are coming up more and more as we help clients look, and quickly that scope's coming from structured data into unstructured data as well.
Yeah, I could see definitely data sovereignty. I could see, how you could have metadata around that, right? Like kind of this data is restricted to whatever region, things like that.
Well, and to add to that, right, you've got role-based access security requirements on top of that, right? And Sherry, we spoke a couple of weeks ago about tag propagation and who has access to what data and how do we tag that all the way through and track that all the way through the lineage. So yes, you bang on, Julian, and that role-based access security and who's accessed. And what's getting really interesting is the consumption event conversation, because now we've got human and AI consuming the data set. Right? And I don't think we've even wrestled with that yet.
Yes. What happens when an agent uses the human interfaces, right? It's kind of, we don't track it the same way. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and who's actually accessed it, right? So with the last spec of MCP brought in OAuth, but I don't claim that I've had a chance to review it closely yet. But what are we authenticating as? I'm sure you guys are, like I am, using MCPs, authenticating as me to data sets. Okay. How do you do that at enterprise level? Is it the agent authenticating or is it the human authenticating?
I would say it should be the agent, but I'm pretty sure people are taking shortcuts here.
I won't weigh into that debate yet, Julian, until I've done some more homework, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, also, FYI, if you don't see, you should have a chat button. There's been a couple of links that have been sent by
thank you.
Maciej and
Thank you,
Tomasz
guys. Thank you.
on the chat.
Yeah, saw it. Thank you all for that. and get stuck into that again. Hopefully, have some downtime over summer to do some of this stuff.
Cool. Well, yeah, when when you distill the information you're getting into some more proposals for metadata that could be captured or in various places, I think that'd be very welcome for that. Yeah.
Share those when I get them. And that the connected operating model hopefully will be up on the blog in the coming weeks.
Is that
Okay.
on Cube, the connected operating model?
Yeah, so when we refer to the connected operating model, we talk about people, process, tech, and data as the core operating model elements, but then we wrap in the other capabilities. So data and information asset management or the data and information observability framework, but then also the principles. So yes, the cube in itself is a connected operating model, but the core parts of that are people, process, tech, and data.
Nice. Well, thank you for providing this mental model to all those complex concepts.
You're welcome.
Any more thoughts or questions? I think. Well, thank you for sharing. And anything, is there anything else we want to talk about before we finalize this meeting? Okay.
Nothing from my side.
So on this, I wish you a pleasant end of your day. See you all next time. Thank you for contributing to this meeting. And yeah, bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks, Julian.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
See you all. Bye-bye.